the BPTV studios of Pittsburgh Sportsline. I'm Al Levine. Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate you. Thanks to everybody watching our show on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Also Verizon 32 in Bethel Park in the greater Pittsburgh area from Nemacolin to Cranberry and Wexford. Thanks for all your likes and watching. We hit a brand new high, what was it, 65-37. Highest level yet. So we appreciate that. I remember when we started out a few years ago at 1. So we've gone a lot further.
Our humble little show started off with 1 episode.
Yeah. Hey, matter of fact, Chip reminded me, October 11th, 2011, we started out with Pittsburgh Sportsline in the studio. Actually, it was a couple weeks before that, and the show come on the air October 11th, 2011. So
wow.
We've been doing a show ever since out of the studio. Thanks to all the volunteers. Thanks to Ethan, Rookie of the Year Steve, and Devin Shea. We appreciate it.
I started on episode 3.
Yeah, we got you in there. I remember the
Couldn't
first show, we were supposed to have 4 of us, and one guy had a substitute for one of the guys, and it was crazy there, but somehow we did it, and we're still doing it, talking sports every Tuesday night. Thanks for being fans again. We appreciate it. We got a good show tonight, I'm sure, with sports. You know, we'll cover it. And we start with What's on Your Mind. And Skeets Lewandowski sponsors our show in bars and restaurants. He's going to start sponsoring our Tuesday night, What's on Your Mind. So thanks to Skeets Lewandowski, Skeets Service Station in Finleyville. You can, I don't have the number real handy, but anything on gas, you can go there and get it fixed. They have lawnmowers, they have cars, they have tractors, they have trucks.
Wow.
They even make stuff and bend stuff around. I had a tire that blew out the other day. And,
No!
Just didn't want to tell a lot of people, but I was coming out the Fort Pitt Tunnel. My tire blew out in the middle of the tunnel. People were behind me. Before I got out through the tunnel, I slowed down. Guess what? The tire came off. Now there's people behind me, beside me, beeping. And as I come out, there's a work area with trucks and stuff. I didn't want to pull in there. And I was at night, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And it's sparking, the tire's sparking, and we'll give that number in a second. So Skeets, I go, Skeets, can you get me a tire? He called up a company, got me a tire and a new wheel. Because I needed, the wheel was all bent up. So he was telling people you need new tires or your wheel could look like this. He had my wheel there for a couple of weeks, then he junked it. Late breaking news, we got the phone number for Skeets Service Station. Write this number down. He's sponsoring this What's on Your Mind, 724-348-4715. Tell him Al Levine and Pittsburgh Sportsline recommended you go out there. Frank Fabus, our Hall of Fame photographer, took his lawnmower out there to get repaired.
Wow.
I took mine out there to get repaired. It's a long story, wouldn't start. Go out there. Skeet said, pump that 10 times. I go, come on, you can't pump the start thing 10 times. Started right up. He goes, you going to leave it? I said, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your help. Went out and I've been cutting grass all summer. So that's how Skeets is. And we're going to start the show off with Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
there it is.
You got the C. Levine. Oh, man, I bought a snapper lawnmower this summer and don't have no pump.
What happened?
Don't have no pump to it.
Go to Skeets.
So I can just, no, but it's just, you don't need the pump. You just
No need to prime it. It's already got an automatic choke.
Is that what it's called, the prime?
Yeah, it's a prime.
Yeah, I primed it 10 times.
I don't have to prime.
And snappers are good mowers.
Is it? First mower I ever got that didn't, I only bought it because it came already assembled. I like that.
Well, we know you and putting stuff together aren't working out too well.
That was a key.
And that's where our lawnmower stories come from.
Well, what's on my mind
And sports.
Is
No
sports.
shop talk.
Yeah.
is
I didn't bring you into this.
I tell
too.
you what, James Conner there for a minute remind me of Roger Craig on his only carry. That high knee action and whatnot.
He looked good.
He looked real good, and Steelers can beat Miami Dolphins record if they keep playing quarterbacks, some rookie quarterbacks.
What record's that, Smoking Jim?
Undefeated season.
Oh, no, I'm against that right away. I got to take the
You know
obvious.
they're going to win this week against Chicago.
Lennon.
Yeah, well, how soft of a schedule can they get?
Hold it. Steeler fans, and you all know it, when they're winning, they're going to the Super Bowl. When they lose, they'll never play again. And sometimes when we play one of the worst teams in the league, as Mike Tomlin said today in his press conference, they're desperate teams. We could get beat.
So you're trying to tell me that their third-rated defense is smoking
Are
mirrors?
they that high right now?
Oh,
Wow, I
way
didn't
up
know
there,
that.
wow.
I didn't know that. They're going to move up a little bit more
Probably
against
should have given an
Chicago.
extension.
That's it.
He's getting a pay raise.
So what's on my mind is Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week. And have to start off with honorable mention. Has to go to Pine Ridgeland. They won 43-6 over Penn Hills. In case you didn't hear, Pine Ridgeland 43, Penn Hills 6.
Why'd you repeat that?
In an honorable mention department. But as we move on, we got to give a shout out to Rochester, who won 48-16 over Stowe Rocks. Caleb Collins, friend of the show, over 100 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns again. And that's an honorable mention.
Before you go further, you're going to mention Amani?
No.
They got beat.
Yeah, they got beat. But how about Penn Trafford, 34-8 over Woodland Hills? John Gay, who his dad was the greatest football player in Gateway history, in my opinion, had 170 yards on 8 carries against Woodland Hills.
Only 8 carries.
2 80-yard touchdown runs.
That wasn't a compliment because of something that he posted on your post on Facebook.
Hey, I like that. Did you read that,
Yeah,
man? It made me feel good, man. It made me feel good. Nice to be remembered, even though my jersey's not hanging up anymore, according to the talking machine.
No, I never saw your jersey anywhere, except in a photo today.
There you go.
Number 22.
Number 22.
Cal U.
And thanks again to Cynthia Callbreath from Philadelphia. Just lost her brother to battle with cancer.
That's a shame.
Was digging deep to find some photos for the funeral. I couldn't make the funeral, but she happened to stumble along my photo, and she sent it to me. So I'm happy to see that.
Back when you used to run 4.3.
Back when I ran 4.3, and back when she looked like Jane Kennedy. Ooh, if anybody remembers Jane Kennedy, that was her nickname.
I remember her.
Yeah, beautiful young lady. How about
I
Bethel?
can't remember what year that was. I remember Jane Kennedy, but I'm trying to think what year that was.
How about Bethel
I
Park?
think 81.
How about Bethel Park 24-7 over Norwood? They have to get honorable mention.
Another honorable mention.
Another honorable
This
mention.
is 2.
Got to go to the undefeated. Somebody's had to go, and it was Armstrong's. Gateway is absolutely loaded this year. 54-13 over previously.
Didn't you have season tickets at Gateway?
Always.
Okay.
Previously unbeaten Armstrong.
Oh, that's your alma mater. I
So
forgot.
can I ask you a question? What's it like sitting in the press box without the coach sitting next to you?
Wow, it's going to be tough this year without
You haven't
Coach
been yet?
Marino.
No.
Not yet. Not yet.
You
Not
trapped
yet.
him, Chip.
It's going to be
Killing
tough.
me, man. I got you.
You trapped him.
How
Who knew
about-
it would be that easy?
How about already did that? How about Keystone Oaks, who I believe is
My alma
undefeated?
mater.
And 35-0 over Deer Lakes. Keystone Oaks getting better and better. How about South Fayette? Honorable mention. 51-6 over Uniontown.
This is a new Pittsburgh Sportsline record. 3 honorable high school teams were mentioned.
And here
So far.
here is the team, the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week
I can't wait.
goes to none other than the lonely they've been kicked around like a can for years. How about Plum pulling off the upset against Franklin Regional 33-7?
How could you even
It's
do
a
that?
shame Andy Sebastian wasn't around to see that.
Yeah,
know what?
he was
He's in
watching.
heaven
He
looking
was
down.
looking down on Plum, that's for sure. How about Pittsburgh Sportsline Players of the Week? We got to go with honorable mention.
Wow.
How about Brady Walker from Gateway, 342 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, white quarterback.
What about the running back from Maplewood?
Okay.
He's number 1.
Mapletown. How about honorable mention going to Aiden Kane from Mount Lebanon, 10 catches, 212 yards. How about
I can't handle all these how
Howie Reed from West Mifflin, 274 yards rushing. His dad was a great player. Played against my brothers, and I went to college with his aunt. She was a beautiful cheerleader. And last but not least, the Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week goes to none other than Dalen Rush, the new WPIAL single game rushing record, 524 yards. You heard it first from co-host Chip Hayner. Congratulations. He's over 1,000 yards in 4 games. Give it up. I love white
You
running
mean he only
backs.
made 400 some yards in the other 3 games?
500.
Yeah, I think that was his
400
third
some.
game. Was that his third game or was that
This
the
was the 4th game, yeah.
No, 400 some, because 512 or something minus 1,000 is like 488.
He's over 1,000
So,
Yeah.
for the
If you don't
season.
mind-
Yeah, he
Shocking.
had 500 yards in 3
don't mind
games
me
and
interrupting.
501.
So which high school game was going
I
to be
love my
graced
white.
by
I love
your
my
presence?
white running backs. I'm going to Jeanette Amani on Saturday.
And what about Friday night? I'll be up at Brentwood Stadium. I'm going to go up and watch
How
the
are they
Brentwood
doing
Sports.
this good? How are they doing this year?
I have
He'll
no
find
idea.
out.
Okay.
I
I know last year they
walking
were really
distance
good.
from home.
Is it that close?
Block and a half.
How close are you to Bill Boyce?
Walking distance.
Walking distance.
Wow, you like to walk, don't you?
He's told you.
That's how I stay thin.
And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim Frazier. We appreciate it. And that new record for honorable mentions on Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Ain't that a lot?
3 of them.
I figured
Well, it's like when you say the top team is and you mention 5 other teams.
I figured
I respect what you do.
I figured with the Pirates giving up on the season already. They don't.
Hey, you stole my thunder. Let's move on. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind? Sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski Skeets Service Station.
Skeets Service Station. Take all your automotive needs.
Yes.
Call Skeets. What's on my mind this week? And everybody knows that I'm an unabashed Pittsburgh Pirate fan. I have been for life, and I will be for life. And this year is ending on a very disappointing note. And as a season ticket holder that is soon to be renewing my season ticket commitment for next year, because I support my team through thick and thin, through good times and through the bad.
You're unlike Smoking Jim.
I'm not a bandwagon kind of a fan.
He is.
Talk about, since I really feel like we're probably not going to have a segment about the Pirates.
We're going to
this
have a
evening
little one.
because we've got so much going on with the Penguins starting training camp. The Penguins' first exhibition games tonight
Wow.
at
Penn
Penn
State.
State. You've got
didn't know
the
that.
Steelers undefeated, 2-0 atop the North Division.
Going to the Super Bowl.
3-0.
Not yet. They got to beat them first.
Just like Hall of Famer injured his groin.
You've got Pitt stumbling its way through the college football season. Penn State's red hot, mowing down everybody in their way.
McSorley looks great.
And West Virginia's rolling up points like it's nobody's business. So there's plenty of going on. Football, you got high school football, pro football. So, I look at the Pittsburgh Pirates season this year, and it was, to say the least, a comedy of errors. Mm-hmm. And the errors just keep on coming, evidenced by the fact that Gregory Polanco gets thrown out to get the last out of the game last night. I was sitting there at the park, shaking my head.
Great seats.
The seats were great. And you know what? I sit down and watch a ball game any night and consider it a good night. But, the one thing that that disappointed me the most about this year was not the fact that the ownership of the Pirates didn't spend as much money as some people would think that they needed to. It wasn't, there's a lot of things that were disappointing this year, but what I found most disappointing was the performance of the players on the field. This isn't something that you can point the finger and blame on the owner, who has nothing to do with how the players play on the field, or the president of the team, who has absolutely nothing to do with the players that play on the field. The only people that have anything to do with how the players play on the field are the players themselves. And I think some accountability needs to be had, and some people need to take a good hard look. And the Pirates need to make some tough decisions this year, because the people that we were counting on to be major contributors to our success have been nothing short of miserable failures. Let me start with Jung Ho Gong, who couldn't even stay sober enough to make it here into the United States to play this season. And yes, I'm being harsh on him because he deserves it. Starling Marte, and you can't tell me that in this day and age that athletes have no idea what they're putting into their bodies. And, he hurt his teammates, got suspended for 80 games, and then he comes back and he's got that laser focus, right, on the game of baseball. Maybe not so much. And I think that's something that needs to be worked on. Gregory Polanco is another one who, if he can keep off the trainer's table, might be a contributor. He contributes for about a half a dozen games before he pulls up lame. And I think that these are things that need to be evaluated. Now, is this the way that we want to spend our money? Maybe these are players that we should get what we can for and try rebuilding. Now, the one person on the team, probably the best player on the team the last 9 years, that they should definitely make an attempt to extend, Andrew McCutchen, who has been nothing but the consummate professional, considering all of the stuff that he's been through in the last 2 years. I got a lot of respect for the man. He still is a good enough center fielder to start on a lot of Major League Baseball teams, and he's the best outfielder in the Pirates have right now. So instead of considering finding a place to dump him, they should reward him and maybe get rid of the other underachievers. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm optimistic about next year. And this year is playing out. I've got 2 more home games to go to. I'll be there Saturday. I'll be there at the season finale next Wednesday night when the Pirates play the Orioles. And that's a shame, because the last time I saw the Pirates play the Orioles was 1979. That was a pretty good year. But,
for all of you baseball fans like Smoking Jim Frazier, I remember '79 fondly for the last time we won the World Series.
Yes, sir.
38 years, that's the longest streak that the Pirates have gone without winning.
There's a lot of reason for optimism. There were some positives this year. I think the Pirates' starting pitching staff has performed better than expected, considering we had so many young arms in the bullpen, and that bodes well for the future. They need to reevaluate and rebuild the bullpen, which was one of our biggest detriments this year. The bullpen lost more games for us this year than it has in the last 5, and that's something that's going to need some work. We also got to find out that Josh Bell is a bona fide Major League first baseman. Something Pedro Alvarez couldn't make happen. He still hasn't found a place to play in the field for anybody. But, if you can hit the ball a long way, some AAA team will keep you on their roster.
Thanks, Chip.
But you want to know what's on my mind is, yes, this year's a disappointment. No, you don't fire the owner. No, you don't fire the coach. No, you don't fire the players. But here's what. They've got to come back with a dedication and a commitment. They need to do the things they need to do this winter to be better ball players next year. But that's what's on my mind.
What's the record?
What's the question? I think it's 68 and 83.
Okay, they can't.
So they can't. No, they by losing Sunday, they guaranteed themselves a losing season this year.
You can jump on that bandwagon, Smoking Jim. We know you go for the negativity, and if you can get the race card in on this one, I hope you can.
Not as much as the fan.
Can I ask one question before you do what's on your mind, elevating the talking machine? I know the Pirates had the Guinness Book of World Records for most consecutive losing seasons, but now it's been, 22 out of 24 years or something like that? Is that a record too?
No,
Can we look that up?
that's not a record.
That's not a record.
No.
They had the North American sports record, 20 losing seasons in a row.
But I mean, having
this is a new
22,
record.
having
This is
22 out of
new.
20, that's something new.
This is new.
I like to look that up. I might get the Guinness
Well,
Books of
you
Records.
can find it.
Can you check that out?
Smoking Jim is a little side note. You're looking for the conspiracy with Art Rooney,
And no, here's
the
other-
ownership of the Steelers. When you find that, you'll find this record right next to it.
Wait, and
Gene Tunney.
I only got one question. So what's your point?
No, I was just wondering. I like records.
Really?
I think they got the
I
record.
like CDs.
And I like to say what's on my mind. And I skipped to it because we had the Skeets Lewandowski sponsorship notice that he is sponsoring What's on Your Mind. This is something new for our regular Tuesday night show, which started October 11th, 2011. That's a new record, Smoking Jim. I hold the record for consecutive shows.
You sure do. They'll never be broken.
No, not yet. Thanks to Olive Oil's Pizzeria for sponsoring our show also. 412-831-1900. Check them out right at Hillcrest Shopping Center. They run pizza specials and other food specials every week. Check them out. Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. There's Joey. He died before his 9th birthday 2 years ago. We honor Joey at the end of each show with Stay Joey Strong. I'll have a report on his Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation 1K walk and 5K run. Had great people there, and I have to shout out the Skeets Lewandowski and Lisa, his daughter. They walked the 1K. They were there supporting Joey Fabus, so it was nice to see him there. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts History Center. Check it out on South Park Road. You'll see the trolley there. It's an old trolley just sitting there. Check out the building. They put 107 new windows in the building.
Wow.
The community foundation that I'm on as a trustee, we put in 10 of those windows. So just happened to segue into bpcf.org. If your organization needs money from $100 to $5,000, go online, get an application for BPCF. That's the Bethel Park Community Foundation. Check it out. Maybe you can get some money for your group in Bethel Park. Now, Dave Cable likes to have fun, so do I. Sometimes it's at my expense, sometimes it's at his. This is I Want You for BPTV. 412-831-3304. Tell Dave Al Levine, the talking machine, wants you and sent you here to be in the control room like Ethan is, like Devin Shea is, and what's that rookie of the year? Steve. Comes all the way from Baldwin to do camera work. He did camera work for me on the 5K run and got all the interviews. The Talking Machine did some interviews. Check it out. I posted it up on my Facebook page. You can like it and check all the people that I did talk to in Bethel Park about this great event for Joey Fabus. All 100% of the money that's earned that day, it's their biggest fundraiser, goes to research on DIPG, the deadly brain cancer that's a death sentence for any child that gets it. Children get this disease, and it's horrific. All right, what's on my mind is I'm listening to the Bucco game, and they said the Pirates, which I recalled, August 11th, were 68-68. Then I hear a stat that the Pirates won 6 games and lost 25 games since that point in time. And we have less than 2 weeks of the season to go. And it was very disappointing to me. I've been a disgruntled Pirate fan at times, not Steelers here, but Pirates, because I see some of the players not giving that effort and they're lackadaisical, like Polanco and different guys running bases and stuff. And the head coach just got an extension of his contract and just mentioned that it's unacceptable, some of the play that these players are doing. So as Chip talked about, we're still Pirate fans, unlike Smoking Jim, who's looking for the negativity here somewhere, somehow, some way he will bring it up. Can't wait. And Babe Ruth does not look over for the Pirate fans still. I am optimistic with pitching. Starting pitching, the young guys, Trevor Williams, Cole, come through. Garrett Cole has his moments there, and he has one bad inning, and it seems to destroy him. But hopefully he'll work on that. And Tyon has been a great pitcher all year. He's had some ups and downs. Of course, he had testicular cancer. That would knock anybody for a loop, and he come back and started pitching well again there. So that's good. And we got young pitchers that are coming up. We're finding out their weaknesses, their strengths, and guys have improved throughout the year. Offense has been terrible. The last 11 games, I think we scored 15 runs. It's unacceptable. So I'm a stat man too, and like Chip, and I enjoy the Buccos. I like their play. I do watch an inning or two, even at this point of the season, because I like to see what they're doing. I'm hopeful, and I'm hopeful for next year. And as far as Smoking Jim's inquisitive record on having 22 out of 23 or 5 losing years, he can just go back to wherever he came from before he found out about the Buccos play baseball. Because he can NFL scout, Steeler scout, model scout. He can even not tell us what year that picture today was at Cal U, number 22, looking for Hollywood in the photo. So, and that's what's on my mind, and we'll be right back with Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip Hayner.
You're welcome.
But yeah, for the Pirates, it's been about 2.5 decades. And but did you do the car show this summer? That was always fun. Did that happen?
It was there, but they were coming in at different times. It was on Community Day. They moved to it. They had the Rev 'em Up for Kids mega car show.
I always enjoyed that.
I know, we missed you.
Yeah.
Again.
But the fiction.
That's like 2 years in a row.
Yeah, man, I gotta start getting out more.
Stay home in Monroeville.
The Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. There used to be a player. WPIL's loaded with talent. You can see them all at Penn State. And shout out to the Pitt Panther Akron team. but
did you help Franklin write that?
That was
comment?
good. That was good.
I knew
that
you'd like that comment.
That was a good knock. It was deservingly so. Pitt should be 0-3. Youngstown State should have beat them. Took them to overtime. But anyhow, back in the day, there was so much talent at Pitt almost in every position.
What day was that?
Back in the day when they were good. But they had
I'm trying to figure out which day it was, what year.
He ain't giving it up.
You'll find out soon enough.
I will too.
But the you guys will know when I start dropping some of these names. But Shadyside Academy had a running back whose dad used to play for the Steelers, and his name was Chucky Scales. Fast kid. Always admired him.
1979.
Earlier in the 80s. And I used to always admire him because I'd see him at Kennywood every day, and he'd have a different good-looking girl with him, And
that would jeopardize you and your sweeties.
Yeah, there you go. There was always enough to go around. And Chucky Scales was an All-American running back in high school, although anybody could run in that league that Shadyside Academy played at that particular time. They didn't really play at many WPIL schools back then. But he was being recruited by everybody. His dad played for the Steelers. So he goes to Pitt, and he's a freshman sensation running back, and he wore 22 as well. And
what a coincidence.
But, which is not a coincidence, is why they moved him as a sophomore to wide receiver. And this is the reason why. Pitt recruited guys by the name of A.B. Brown, Zeke Gatson. How about Charles Gladman? How about Brian Davis from Washington, PA,
Yes, sir.
and none other than Ironhead Hayward? All came in the same class, and Jackie Sherrill went to, or whoever was coaching Pitt at that time, and tapped Chucky Scales on the shoulder and says, "Young man, you are now a wide receiver." So look at all the talent that Pitt had just in one position, not counting the offensive line, quarterbacks, defensive backs, linebackers. I mean, they almost had all-American caliber players at every single position. I don't think we'll ever see that again from the Pitt program.
No, once they
What a
start
fun
paying
time.
the players, then they went somewhere else.
Bring the Golden Panthers back.
There you go. 'Cause they offensive linemen, Mark May, Russ Grimm, Bill Fralick.
The worst of the bunch was Jim Sweeney, and he played, 13, 14 years in the NFL?
Yeah.
For the
And
Jets.
I mean,
Jets.
that's how great the line was. Jim Sweeney was the
Jimbo,
center and got
Big
hardly no
Jimbo.
credit. Yeah.
Jimbo
And you know him,
Sweeney.
he was right across the street from you, his high school, Seton LaSalle. But shout out to Chucky
South
Scales.
Hills Catholic back then.
South Hills Camp. No, with Seton LaSalle when he played. But, hey, a shout out to Chucky Scales.
Where is he now?
Yesterday's heroes are soon forgotten. He's actually a minister. Invited me several times to his church. Chucky's on round now. Round. Somebody said he lost weight. Last time I seen him, he was up over 300 pounds. Couldn't hardly see his shoulders.
Hold it a second.
Neck.
I remember when you were over 300
Yeah,
pounds.
there you go.
So I called you on the phone the night before your surgery, and I said, "Smoking Jim, I've been telling people you're 350 pounds. You only weigh 317, and you lost 47 pounds in a week in the hospital. Now you're at 270 and holding.
There you go.
My man.
But a shout out to Chucky Scales, one of the all-time greats in
I
this
couldn't let you
area.
get away with calling him round.
Yeah, but he's a
Because
minister.
you get around.
And it's funny because the last time I seen him, not to cut in on your time, Chip, but the last time I seen him,
You're not cutting
I
his
had
time.
to tell somebody how great he was because see some of these guys now, you would never know that they play ball. Like you could look at you two and tell that you guys were former athletes, but there's some guys you look at and you said, no,
Oh,
this guy couldn't have played anywhere.
How's your mirror look?
Huh?
How does your mirror?
I always lifted weights, so I kind of look like I did something on the offensive line or defensive line or some linebacker or something. But
I think
when you
the
look
bench.
when you look at Chucky Scales, it looked like he hasn't worked out in 25 years.
I was thinking the buffet line.
Yeah, that works out too, you know. But Chucky Scales was one of the all-time greats. And just a quick story, 30 seconds, Chip. Happened to be over his house one time years ago. Boy, he had a good looking sister, Chucky Scales.
Okay.
And I'm over the house.
I'm glad we got down to the truth there.
I'm creeping over his house one time, and I'm in there. And all of a sudden, I love jelly beans. Not as much as watermelon, but I love me some jelly beans. And I'm grabbing these jelly beans, and all of a sudden, the sister says, "Those are my dad's jelly beans." Dad came in, I'm like 15 years old. Dad came in, who's eating these jelly beans? And that was Chuck Scales, who was the Jim Brown back in the day. He was big like Jim Brown, big running back for the Pittsburgh
So did he
Steelers.
chase you out of the house?
I never went back. But I didn't take them jelly beans out of my pocket either. I saved them. I figured I could outrun him in those days. But anyhow, that's what's on my mind. I was creeping.
What the heck year was that?
That's a few years ago.
I'm trying to find out these years, folks. Well, as usual, I must thank Smoking Jim for a lot of fiction. And we snuck in a few facts. The jelly beans, I believe, was factual.
If you had a daddy, I didn't go back.
Especially the ones in his pocket.
What color were they?
I didn't eat the black ones. I didn't like the black ones.
You're unbelievable. Sorry, folks.
You like the black jelly beans?
I ate them all.
Sorry, folks. He did bring the race card out a little bit late on the show.
I ate them all.
And so do I, Smoking Jim. My dad used to bring home black licorice, so I don't mind a few of those black jelly beans.
Get rid
All
of
right,
them.
let's go to the next segment right now.
Well, good evening, everybody. And Chief, I hope you and your father are watching. I've got some current baseball trivia
Whoa.
Ooh.
to go along with some older baseball trivia.
All right, I want to hear that.
Let's not fail to make notice of the 22-game winning streak the Cleveland Indians pulled off,
Yeah.
tying a major league record. It's not the official major league
26,
record,
right?
which was from the 1913 New York Giants
Yeah,
or something
that's
like
what I
that.
go by.
And the thing
You don't
is that they
even know
didn't really confirm that they were all against Major League Baseball teams. But that being said, but here's the one thing that, before the people in Cleveland decide to start making plans for the parade, is that most teams that have long winning streaks like that in the regular season usually don't fare well in the playoffs.
I didn't know that.
So keep this in mind. Next thing, Major League Baseball in general, the American League and the National League, will probably break the home run record for a season this evening. They are 17 home runs shy of breaking the Major League record, and there's a very strong possibility that there may be 6,000 home runs hit in the major leagues in the 2017 season.
Wow.
That's the regular season.
They got a juice baseball. What the heck?
I don't
You
know
got
what
the
it
juice
is.
ball. Just go to Miami and watch
Well,
Stanton.
and that brings me to Giancarlo Stanton.
Sorry.
Last night he hit his 55th home run.
Yeah.
Really?
And he is on pace to possibly break the 60 home run barrier, which has not been broken since the steroid boys from the early 2000s. We're hitting 60 every year. And last but not least, here comes the judge. New York Yankees slugger Aaron Judge
My
hit his
favorite.
44th home run this year.
He's back.
4 home runs away, or maybe it's 5 home runs away, from tying Mark McGwire's rookie record of 49 home
I
runs.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he wasn't on steroids then.
He's always been on steroids. So, you've got some things happening in Major League Baseball that are worth paying some attention to. So, keep an eye out. Records are going to fall. Potentially, 17 home runs could easily be hit. Now you figure
By this weekend.
there's 30 baseball teams, so there's 15 games being played tonight. Very, very possible that the home run record
Next
could
few
fall
days.
tonight, and I would be very impressed to see 6,000 home runs in a season.
Me too.
So, that being said, so much for our current baseball trivia, because history is being made as we speak. Don't you think, Jim?
Yes, sir.
This date, September the 13th, is significant to 2 Hall of Famers for the same reason.
Whoa.
Willie Mays and Frank Robinson. They share a historical event on September the 13th. September the 13th, 1965, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, hit his 500th home run. September 13th, 1971, Frank Robinson hit his 500th home run.
Wow.
There you go. 1984 was a pretty memorable year. I do remember that. It was the year that the Detroit Tigers started off the season fast and kept the pedal to the metal and went all the way to the World Series and won a world title. The Tigers clinched the American League East Division with a 3-0 victory over the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers used to play in the American League, making the Tigers the 4th team in Major League history to lead from start to finish. The other 3 teams were the 1923 New York Giants, the 1927 New York Yankees, and the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers. Now, 1927 New York Yankees is arguably the greatest baseball team that ever played. And they won their world championship at the expense of who, Jim Frazier?
Yankees?
No, the Yankees won. Who'd they beat?
Oh, no.
The Pittsburgh Pirates in 4 games.
Did they?
Yes, they did, 1927.
You remember that.
Now, that Detroit Tiger team that won the World Series, was Ron LaFleur on that one?
I do not believe that Ron LaFleur was. That was the team where Kirk Gibson was playing center field. Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell on the Jack Morris was their ace. Mm-hmm. Okay, that kind of jogging.
He
memory.
never saw a game. Let me make that official.
Okay, now because you brought up the Detroit Tigers, now I'm going to bring up the Detroit Tigers.
Okay.
The Detroit Tigers in 1968. Denny McLain of the Detroit Tigers did something that hasn't been done since and will never happen again. Another one of these things in baseball that will never happen again, like Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak.
Happen.
It won't. But anyhow, Denny McLain of the Detroit Tigers beat Oakland A's 5-4 to become the first pitcher since Dizzy Dean in 1934 to win 30 games.
Wow, that'll never happen.
That'll never happen, and the simple reason because
smoking Jim.
as baseball has gravitated towards a 5-pitcher rotation, the average starts that a pitcher gets, if he's healthy all season, he'll start 32 games. I don't think anybody's going to ever go 32-0. Could happen, I guess, but I find it unlikely.
30-2, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Could happen.
I'm with smoking Jim.
Now, probably
Check the record books.
the best manager in the major leagues right now was not a star player on any team that he played for.
Dusty Baker?
Bob Brenly, the manager of the San Francisco Giants. And the reason why I say he's the best, he's won 3 world titles. Wow. Nobody else comes close to that.
Good point.
Bob Brenly of San Francisco tied a major league record on September the 14th, 1986, with 4 errors in 1 inning. Okay, kind of, wasn't one of his shining moments.
Not a good thing.
But he redeemed himself by hitting 2 home runs, including the game winner to give the Giants a 7-6 victory over the Atlanta Braves. Brenly, a catcher, was playing third base that day.
Oh, no wonder. Third base is hard to play.
Also, 2 of Denora's greatest did something on the same day. Ken Griffey and his son hit back-to-back homers in the first inning of the Seattle Mariners' 7-5 loss to the Angels. The unprecedented father and son homers came off Kirk McCaskill.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing.
And Ken Griffey was from Denora. And what other great baseball player came from Denora, Jim?
Dan.
Stan the Man Musial.
Also, in one of the darkest days in baseball history. Oh, yes.
You look at me when you say darkest day?
No, it's because the light was in my eyes. Okay? But in 1994, and this was, a dark day for a number of reasons, because I don't believe that the Cleveland Indians have won a world title in 60, 70 years. I think they're the next on the list for the longest drought.
69. Yeah.
Okay. But in 1994, the 2 best teams in baseball that year, by anybody's reckoning, was the Montreal Expos in the National League, and it was the Cleveland Indians. And that was the Cleveland Indians of Albert Bell with a young Manny Ramirez.
Sure.
And,
Wasn't that a strike-shortened season?
I will tell you what happened on September the 14th. The baseball season, already shut down by a month-long strike, was canceled, along with the World Series, in a vote by 26 of the 28 teams.
Wow.
Okay? So a very dark day in baseball history, and they say that because of that shutdown and the fans' anger is what led the owners to allow the steroid era to begin, because they were trying to get fannies in the seats again, because people were not coming out to the games after they came back off strike. And, the owners said, wait a minute, we need to make money. So
I stopped going.
So there you go. Now, two things that are last. They each happened on September the 14th, one in 2002, one in 2003, involving two separate teams. Tampa Bay's 8-4 loss at Toronto was the Devil Rays' 100th of the season. The Devil Rays, whose record at the time was 48 wins and 100 losses, became the quickest American League team to lose 100 games since the 1949 Washington Senators lost 100 in their 147th game. They also became the first team to lose 100 in consecutive seasons since Toronto did it in 1977 through 1979. Now, the other team that I was talking about on September the 14th, 2003, the Detroit Tigers lost to the Kansas City Royals 7-2 to become the first team in 34 years to lose 110 games in one season. Detroit, whose record at the time was 38 wins and 110 losses, has the most losses since the Montreal Expos and the San Diego Padres went 52 and 110 in 1969, the first seasons in the major leagues.
Wow.
So there you go. Hey, Chief, I hope you and your dad enjoyed my trivia. Give you something to talk about this Saturday night, but that's what I got for you this week.
Enjoy your dessert, Chief. And Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Machine and Chip. You guys say that the Indians, 69 years since they won the World Series. Where's the Pirates fall at 38 years? Are they next?
I haven't seen the list, so I couldn't answer that for you.
Not too
And
far.
even if I could, I probably wouldn't.
38 years, not too bad. You can look that up with the conspiracy with the Steelers.
And actually,
Art
Jim,
Rooney.
if you think about it, the Pirates won a World Series in 1925. They won their next one in 1960. So
35 years.
I didn't know that.
35 years.
So that's it.
They went 35 years.
And then we won 3 in the next 20 years. So, it happens.
You're a stat man.
You
gotta
win, you
appreciate it.
lose.
To me, it's winning if you go 500.
What?
500.
That's shocking.
500.
An optimistic,
No,
athletic
Jim,
guy like you.
It's just like in football, there's only one team at the end of the year that had a successful season.
That's true.
Everybody else failed.
Thanks, Chip, for your trivia. Appreciate it. Thanks, Smoking Jim. On location, we don't have a location right now. We're talking to Hollywood Lanes and a couple other people in the area. But we will be back. Sorry to say, Smoking Jim, he got another arrangement. He's doing boxing on October 9th. We will be at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and more at 930 Brookline Boulevard on the 9th. And I wanted to tell you that I got a guest that's coming November. Talked to her today.
Oh, yeah?
Both of you remember Jamie Chesney.
Yes.
So save your calendars for November 13th. And Smoking Jim filtered a guest or two my way for our the October show, October 9th. Dan Bogan is going to be bringing one of Bruno Sammartino's sons. So for October 9th, here I know his twin brother.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I didn't know this son's name. I forget it.
Daryl.
Daryl. Well, his other brother, I met him in Perrysville at a barber shop when I was helping a guy start a newspaper in the North Hills.
Yeah?
And he goes, I'm so-and-so Sammartino. I go, you're his son? And he was cutting hair
Wow.
in a barber shop in Perrysville, so out in the North Hills. So we have an exciting show coming up October and November. Mark your calendar, Smoking Jim, for Jamie Chesney. She said hi to Chip and hi to Smoking Jim Frazier. I talked to her for only an hour today.
Wow.
This
She's got a
morning.
big day coming on tomorrow.
Yeah, she has a big court case going on, and good luck to her.
Yeah,
She
saying a prayer for her.
she's also doing some jujitsu and some Muay Thai, which she started doing that. So she does some stuff, charitable work with kids out in the North Hills. We'll talk about that. I mean, she was a great MMA fighter and got hurt, injured a finger very badly, and sort of cut down her career. Plus, she's had a lot of other things out there going on. So our prayers for her, but she did tell me to say hi to you guys for her, since you know her. And we will see her November 13th at Olive Oil's Pizzeria.
I'm excited.
I'll tell you what, we'll keep a good thought for her for tomorrow.
Yes, she has a big case. I talked to her on some of the points because I've gone through some of those issues, and she's on point.
Yeah.
We did have a good conversation.
Yeah, I hope it comes out the way she wants it to, because when it involves a child,
you never know when it goes to the judge. There's certain rules and laws, and I'm not going to talk about family division. Just think of the name. All right, we got the next segment. Steelers. We're down to 6 minutes to go. Less than 3.5 minutes to go. We got some Steeler talk for you. Watch the game. Steelers are now 2-0 on their way to the Super Bowl. I bleed black and gold, and that's what I believe, even though we overcame a lot of sickness on the offensive line. Mike Tomlin gave an injury report, said he expects everybody to be back. They're all possible for the next game against the disappointing Chicago team
The Bears.
They just have the Bears look terrible. But since we play to the level of the competition, you got to be a little worried on a desperate team and a desperate situation. What do you guys think?
Well, let's not forget the fact that Mike Glennon, the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears, last time he played the Steelers as a starting quarterback, beat him as starter for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So, it doesn't seem like the Steelers dominate inexperienced or rookie quarterbacks the way that they once did.
Well, LeBeau was the coach and made a huge difference with it. As Smoking Jim talks poorly about our defensive coach, I won't mention his name.
And our defensive players. And he won't mention any of their names.
Oh, he does mention some.
No,
of
but
them.
just serious. I want to hear your opinion. What do you think of the play of the front seven in the Steelers' defense up to this point this year? Because it looks like, even though they didn't get a tremendous number of sacks this past weekend, they had a tremendous amount of quarterback pressures, and forcing the ball out of the quarterback's hand before he's ready to throw it makes your defensive backs that much better. And I just wonder what your thoughts are about the Steelers' front seven.
Well, a lot of talent. It's hard to keep them all in the lineup at the same time, but the Samoan, they got Tyson. 94 is outstanding. Hargrave is a great player, but Hayward's taken another step.
He's healthy.
And if we can get one play a game to it, to play to his potential.
One play?
You
mean one play during the game?
One play a game, that's all he usually makes. But
the
front seven, but I'm really excited about the backups. Tyson, the Samoan, Chicolo coming in off the bench, Matakevich.
Matakevich is playing
like you talked
heck of
about
a game.
What he did, I don't know if you guys noticed when he did the fake punt. There's not another player probably in the National Football League would have made the play that Matakevich made. He went with his man. There's no way. There's no other player that would have went. That fake was so set up good. Most guys are rushing in the quarterback. He goes with his man, and not only did he go with his man, he batted down the ball with the correct hand. Because you have this hand, the tackle make the tackle, and you have this hand to bat it away.
Smoking Jim, we're out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're out of time, buddy.
All right, that's it.
15 seconds
My
to
fault,
go.
but I missed the clock.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks to Chip Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and your insights. Still can't find out what year that photo is. I can only guess. But please stay Joey strong.